Right, how's it going? Happy Sunday. We are still doing a kitchen briefing, but I'm just kind of outside the kitchen today. It's a real nice day, so if I am squinting a little bit, sorry, but it's good to be out. Good week last week. Everyone putting in plenty of effort. It was really good to see. So the week ahead then we have Monday, tomorrow we have our gymnastics holds. So this week we're looking at just a 10-minute EMOM we're going to pair up with our handstand holds, so we're going inverted. We haven't looked at that yet in our gymnastics series on a Friday, but it's something that we will look at. But for tomorrow, we have a few options with this one. We can do like a wall walk in, and we can kick up into the wall. We can then, if we can do a wall walk and maybe start to tip away from the wall, because we are looking at a handstand hold, and see can we kind of look towards freestanding. The fourth option then is to come in sideways, so to either kick up sideways or like kind of like a cartwheel in, so that instead of going back and forward, we do if we kick up or if we wall walk, we do have that safety net of the wall being behind us or in front of us. Whereas if we go sideways, the wall is still out here. I can use my foot to make contact and to give myself a little bit of balance, but I lose that safety net of that forwards and backwards, and it forces me to stabilise a little bit better in that overhead position. And then the fifth option we have is just to kick up into a freestanding handstand. Somewhere in those five is where we'd like to spend up to our 30 seconds. We're going to pair that up then with our hanging L-sit. It's really important it's really important that we keep our knees straight with this and try and get the legs up as high as possible. We do our bent knee one on the parallettes, so we need to do a straight leg one as well. Our Metcon then, just some little bodyweight triplet, so we have a 400 meter run, 3 rope climbs and 60 double unders. With the run, if we want, instead of 400, we can scale that down to maybe a 300 meter run. Our rope climbs 3. Let's try and do 15-foot rope climbs if we can, either 2 or 1, ideally 2 or 3, but if we need to scale it down, let's go 2 or 1. And then on the if we need to, maybe we can go to 12-foot rope climbs. So again, there's some markers on some of them. There are some of them that are in the one that's in the rig is a 12-foot one, so we can do that. And then the double unders tomorrow, we're going to scale those to 60 double taps, so our little penguin jumps. Sorry, you might hear Dobby running around and barking. We have a bird nesting in the roof of the house, and he goes mad. If we can get in then a little bit of calf work, so like a good stretch out, even we can sit back on the PVC and get a little bit of movement to that, and then afterwards either barbell or even a lacrosse ball and get in. And just because there's a lot of rope climbs and double unders, that it is a little bit of a grippy workout, and get a little bit of love into the forearms. Tuesday, something a bit different then, so we're going to go for for height, a 1 rep max box jump, about 15 minutes to get to work up to a high box jump. This isn't AMRAP, it's not Metcon, it's like quality work. We'd like to maybe like 6 or 8 attempts as we work up, and really there's a mental thing here as well. We can probably jump higher than we think we can, and it's just overcoming that mental barrier with the box jumps. But at whatever height we are, let's see if we can get in and get a nice good jump in on that. And then our Metcon 21, 15, 9 hang power snatches and toes to bar. Sorry, I'm a bit bummed up today as well. The weight on the hang power snatches should be something that if we only had to do the 21, we could potentially do unbroken. I'm not recommending that we go unbroken, but the max weight we're going to go with is 52 and 35. So with that weight as well, we can dump the bars. It just makes it a little bit easier. Toes to bar. What we're looking at today, or that on Tuesday with the toes to bar, is that we want to have all of our reps. We want to eliminate that double kip at the bottom. So our scaling option then on the bar is going to dial it down with straight legs as high as we can go, and get back into that big arch position so that we can hit the next rep over and over again, so we can start linking reps together. that double kip happens, we just need to dial down the height that we're going at a little bit. Do that. The other options then are single leg kipping, single leg alternating toes to bar. But again, we only want to do this if we can get 1 foot up to the bar. It's a little bit easier than getting both feet up. And then the other one, hip to ring, or toes to rings. So again, we're not going to do toes to rings if we have to dial it back. If we can get the feet to go through the rings every single rep, then that is good for us here today. Let's work on an overhead position. So if that's like a barrel stretch with a bar and a foam roller or something like that, we want to creep in, so that's nice. Or else maybe even those wall slides in an upright position against the wall, 8 or 10 of those. We come through, and then afterwards let's get some little bit of love into the traps. Nice stretch. We want to kind of wind up a band so that it comes behind us, and then we open up here and really get a little bit of movement. Alternative is to get a lacrosse ball, jam it in one of the uprights, and we'll lean down into it and get a little bit of work into the traps. Wednesday's a heavy day this week, right? So it's the big day. So squats, back squats, front squats. Let's start the back squats about 2.5 to 5 kilos heavier than we started last week. They're all at the same weight, so 312s. And then the first set of front squats is that, and let's add weight to every set of front squats. Let's see how we get on with the 6s this week. And we haven't missed any yet, I don't think. So we want to continue in that fashion. If we are struggling a little bit with the 6s, let me know. And what we're going to do is we'll just amend the rep scheme then a little bit to see can we still continue with this, but to not change it too much, and we can still push out, and we'll start to dial it down a little bit. Our Metcon then, heavy work today, so 12, 9 and 6 deadlifts and bar muscle ups. The deadlifts are RX at like 140 and is it 80 or 90 or something like this. Sorry, offhand it was just a 140 to my head. I don't know what. 6, 5, 90 kilos I think. 75% of your 1 rep max deadlift is the max weight we're going to go with today. So if that 140 is heavier than that, then we need to dial it down a little bit, but that's okay. But if you have a 200 kilo deadlift, then that 140 should be fine. And they do not have to be touch and go. Heavy singles is probably where we're going to go today, and that's the goal today, to get in and get some heavy work in, and then see how we can get on with a nice little like a fast gymnastics movement. Today we looked at kind of scaling the bar muscle ups differently last week, but this week what we're going to do is just I think it's 15, 12, 9 chest to bars, or 21, 15, 9 pull-ups paired with those heavy deadlifts. Let's see how that grip reacts as well after all that. Forehand, let's get in and get some wall squats in, even just sets of 10, nice and controlled on the way down, 10 seconds on the way down, 5 seconds at the bottom, controlled on the way up. So you can work that. And then let's sit on a lacrosse ball or get some stretches into the glutes then afterwards. Thursday is our push-pull day, so kettlebell single arm presses with our chin-ups. Add some weight to the chin-ups again if we can. If we're not there with the 6 to 10, finish out sets with negatives. Our Metcon then, handstand push-ups, box step overs and hang clean and jerks. It's all done, well, the step overs and clean jerks done with a single kettlebell. And because we have boxes out for this, let's look at scaling. So one option on the handstand push-ups, if we don't have them, it's 8 reps, is to do just with one ab mat. It's fine. Or if we've been doing workout with an ab mat, let's see if we can go to maybe one of the green pin bands, or if you really like the ab mats, stick a pair of 5 kilo or 10 kilo plates out and see can we just limit that or remove that height a little bit. We're not going anything more than one ab mat, so if that's not going to happen, what we'll do is there is a really nice way to scale handstand push-ups using the box. So we can put the knees on the box, get the hands in nice and close, and we do get like a vertical push out of it, and we get used to moving through. So we, like any kind of push that we start out in front, we push and then we end up getting through at the top, and we can do that here. So knees on the box. If that's too easy, then we can take the knees up, and we get into a nice pike position with the toes on the box. Everything else is fine. Alternating arms on the hang clean and jerks. Box step overs. We don't have to extend or anything. We just have to get the feet down on the far side. I think there's time caps and stuff on most of the things this week, so it's not too bad. Let's get some T-spine action as well. I know, very similar to overhead position, but let's hang out on one of those, like the pair of lacrosse balls, the peanuts, with a 20 kilo plate, and just get some movement through it. It can be a little bit painful, a little bit sore, but it's nice. And then again, let's give the glutes a little bit of love again after this. Do twice in a row, it's okay. Friday is our Olympic lifting day, so hang, snatch, and 2 overhead squats. We're about 15 minutes to work up to a heavy single on that. We see, well, it should be fine. It's a nice little complex. If we don't have that requisite mobility to get down into the bottom of an overhead squat, 2 things. One, we need to work on that. It's not something we're going to look at today in this class, but we'll give you something to go on. And I think a hang power snatch double is what we're going to go with today, rather than half squats. I know it can be tough. You don't want to be there with a PVC. Just working on positions. It is something that we all should do, but if we want to work on a little bit of strength, we can work on that hang power snatch double. Metcon then, 100 burpees for time. Every 90 seconds, including the first, starts with a 100-meter run. So you out to the gate and back, and then we start our burpees. This is it should be less than 10 minutes. If you can eke out 10 burpees a minute, that run, if Usain Bolt can run 100 meters in 8-9 seconds, then we can do it in 30 seconds. And then 10 a minute. So it's about pushing that out. Push out that first set of burpees, see how we go, and see can we dig deep, sprint hard, come back in, and get in 15-20, and it'll really add up when we do that. And then Saturday we have a nice little partner WOD. It is a few you go, I go AMRAP, so 10-minute AMRAPs. We go in teams of 4. But it's essentially teams of 2, and we're just going to swap the AMRAPs each round. So yeah, it's fine. We can go through that in class. Class on Saturday, like we said, is 9:30 to 11 this week, and not 10:30 to 12 as is in previous weeks. Again, if you have any questions on anything there, let me know, and let's give it socks this week. Have fun.